Well, hello and welcome to the first ever Room Junkie Live Challenge. And true to form, I forgot my earphones. Oh, you're so welcome. I am genuinely excited about this. I'm so excited, I'm actually a bit nervous with anticipation and apprehension. And some people have come in. Listen, I'm going to wait for a few minutes to allow people to come in because not everybody's going to be in on time and people might have trouble getting in. But I just want you to let me know where you are. Yes, there's definitely people there. Have I got my comments turned on? I have. Yes, I have. Let me know where you are. Please let me know where you are. And if you've got a special project on the go, if you're planning a special project, I would absolutely love to know what you're doing. But don't be shy. This is a private group. This is just a very intimate group. It is just us. Nobody else can come in. Nobody else can see into the group. So I would just love to know where you are. And I'm curious to see where our furthest away guest is today. Bridie is in Clonmany. Hi, Bridie. I missed you at the show last week, but we will meet up sometime. It's awfully windy here in Letterkenny, so I'm sure it's the same. Somebody else is in Meath, and that's somebody from one of my groups, and Bridie's in Galway. Listen, you're so welcome. And if you remember, will you give me a thumbs up or a love heart? Because apparently, Facebook loves this, and if you get lots of love hearts and thumbs up, they will actually show the video and give notifications to other people. Between Derry and Donegal and Mount Charles again. Hi, Rosari. Oh gosh, the numbers. So I've got somebody in Galway, Marie Riley, in Dublin, in Skull, in Dublin. Loads of people in Dublin, and Cork. Tons and tons of you in Dublin. Well, I used to live in Dublin and now I live in Donegal. And Anne Latif is over in Birmingham. Well, Anne, you are currently our furthest away person. You know what? It's lovely to see the familiar Newton Cunningham, Birmingham, Roscommon, Glasnevin. Gosh, Dublin is extremely well represented. Normally it's the Cork women who come in droves here. But I'm just so delighted you're here, and I'm actually so delighted that I decided to do this challenge because 2 weekends ago I was actually, I'd been asked to do Ideal Homes and I turned it down to do a local event because I wanted to do a local event, and I have a lot of time for the organisers of the New Build and Rebuild show here. So I was there Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and I did a live all of the days there, which was fantastic. But gosh, I met loads and loads of people, and it's really positive because so many people were building and renovating. Now, there were people who have Mike in their homes who are rebuilding, and that was sad, but I'm trying to put a good spin on that for them, and I try to encourage them, and this time around they will get their dream home because they will plan through it in the right way. Caroline Crowley is in Sligo. She's doing her whole house at the minute, but needs guidance about her bedroom at the minute. Actually, Herefordshire, somebody else in Herefordshire, somebody else in Cork. Brilliant. Lots of you are doing your bedrooms at the minute. It's actually a very good place to start. I always think bedrooms are easy. You might say that's easy for me to say. Yeah, bedrooms are easy. So they're a good place to start. If you want to wet your feet in interior design, truthfully, bedroom is quite easy. And somebody else is in Roscommon. Fantastic. This is brilliant. Now, I know not everybody's going to be able to pop in live today, but this video will be recorded. All the videos will be recorded, and the masterclass on Thursday will be recorded. So maybe I'll get the housekeeping out of the way first. Today's training is all about the pain points that you have, the design pain points that stop you from getting and achieving an incredible interior result. Okay, there are lots of them, and some will be unique to you and some will be unique to somebody else, but there's a current trend that goes through. And to be honest, at the shows a lot of this came through to me because I deliberately asked people the question, what do you struggle with? What is your biggest issue? And depending on whether they were in the middle of a new build or contemplating a new build, or whether they were redesigning a space in their house or redesigning a room, their pain points were different. But I'm going to try in the short time to get as much information to you as you can so that your pain points will be addressed. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Tomorrow is a really big one. I urge you to make sure, if you can't tune in live tomorrow, you please watch the replay. Tomorrow is all about finding your own style. Believe it or not, we all have our own style. And the interesting thing is that our style evolves over the years. A style that you had 10, 20 years ago in your home may not necessarily be the style that you enjoy now, even if you don't know that. And if you think about it, your needs might have changed, your family life might have changed, your little children are now teenagers, life, or maybe you didn't have children and now you do have children. So tomorrow's all about finding your style, and there are ways that you can do this. Mary Jeffries coming in from Cork. Hi Mary. Mary's got loads of work to do in her house as well. Finding your style is really important because you must, it's absolutely vital that you have a style, that you have a cohesive style running through your house. That's why, when you walk into a show house and you think, gosh, everything just flows. That didn't happen by accident. The designer who designed that show house, knew exactly who the target market for the house was. So he knew exactly who was going to be walking through the doors, who might be buying this house, and that house was designed to support that lifestyle. So you're doing the same thing in your house. You're creating a bespoke show house for you and your family. So the minute you walk in the door, everything flows. It's calm, it's organised, it's gorgeous, and it doesn't matter what your particular style is, but it has all of these things. We just say she struggles with finishing. A lot of people struggle with finishing. I actually wrote an article about that last week, which I will share with you here. I should be sharing loads with you here. But so anyway, that's tomorrow. Big module tomorrow, finding your style. And then Wednesday's module or Wednesday's day topic you might think, gosh, that's not a big deal. It's the aspect of your room, the aspect of your house. Well, let me tell you that nothing will impact more on your home, on the feeling of your home, whether it feels happy, whether it feels gloomy, whether it feels miserable, whether it feels upbeat and joyful. Nothing will impact more on your home than your aspect. If your house faces south, you're so lucky because a southern space is a joy to decorate. If your room or your house faces north, it's much more challenging, and I will show you exactly how to get around this. And believe it or not, East and West cause their own challenges as well. So that's going to be Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I'm going to give you a masterclass at 7:30 in the evening because I know that it's a time that's going to suit more people to pop in live. And I am going to go through everything that we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and much more beside. Rath Farnham is calling. It's Mary White. So Thursday's masterclass is going to be very useful to you because I'm going to cover loads. I'm actually going to talk also about my interior design online masterclass, the big class, which I'm relaunching and rebranding, and Mary has done it, Breach has done it actually, Mary Jeffries has done it as well, I think, Rosario has done it, Kavina has done it. It's my step-by-step way, so if you feel you need more help than you're going to get over the 3 days, but I will try my best to give you as much as I possibly can while we're here in the time that we have here to get you on your way. But just know that that is an option for you, and I won't talk about that anymore until Thursday, because I know some people want to know about it and you've sent me messages about it. So I'll talk about it on Thursday, but for the moment I want to talk about the topics at hand. And the other bit of housekeeping that I want to get out of the way is that I have put a guides tab at the top of this Facebook group. So every day's replay will go into that guide, and your homework will go into that guide too. So when I'm finished here, I'll pop up your homework. Today's homework is going to be easy, but don't skimp on it. This homework is just for you. I want you to take the time to sit down quietly somewhere and write out your answers for you, because you'll learn a huge amount about yourself. And speaking about that, most of you here do know me, but I'll very quickly tell you me, who I am, and my story. Marie Summers, a fellow interior designer, is down in Clare and she's popping in to say hello. Well, Marie, I am delighted. It's lovely to think I've got another interior designer here. In fact, I've got two. I've got Maura Mackey in Cork as well. So that's absolutely fantastic, Marie. Thank you so much. Anyway, my story. I trained as a nurse. That was me. So helping is in my DNA, and it always has been and it always will be. I can remember when Neil had his massive rupture 4 years ago, and in ICU in Galway, where he was brought for surgery with a 2% chance of survival, the nurses said to me, "Do you not miss nursing?" And I looked that girl straight in the eye and I said, "You know what? I don't. I'm still helping people," and I am. I absolutely am. So Somebody saying, yes, highly recommend the masterclass. Don't know who that is. So much that I would never have thought of. It's saving me time, money, and most importantly, stress. Well, I don't know who that is. It's coming up with Facebook user, but Facebook user. Thank you so much. That's lovely to hear that. Lovely. Anyway, I trained as a nurse. I am the mum of 3 sons, and I think it's about almost 30 years ago now, very close to it. Neil and I came back from Bermuda and we bought an old house in Foxrock in Dublin. And we put every penny, some of you have heard this story before, but not everybody, every penny that we had, we put into that house. The bones of the house were gorgeous. It was in a really good road and it had a stunning west-facing garden, which we lived in for the first summer that we bought it because we had no money for furniture. We went to Arnott's and bought fabulous garden furniture and we literally spent the summer in the garden. But that's another story. But anyway, we bought this house, had no money to do anything with it, and I had decided that I was going to stay at home. To be a stay-at-home mum. I had trouble getting pregnant and I had lots of miscarriages, so I was so thrilled to have my boys. So I took on this house as a labour of love, but I was clueless and I learned it all myself. Everything I did then, it was self-taught. But I spent a lot of time and effort because interior design is all about knowledge and confidence. The knowledge comes first. You must have the knowledge. You must know what you're doing, and then the confidence comes, and the marriage of both is phenomenal. But anyway, long story short, I went to auctions, I bought at auctions, I learned how to French polish, I learned how to sew again, and I took on this house as my labour of love, and we decided to move back to Donegal. So the house was being sold, and it was being sold by auction. And I can remember going over to the shop, our local newsagents in the village, and picked up the Irish Times, and there on the front cover of the Irish Times on that Thursday supplement, not on the front page of the paper but the front page of the supplement, was our house. The house that was put together with no money. And yes, of course the house did sell very carefully or very strongly at auction, but did I stage that house carefully? Just like as in years gone by, when I would consciously have designed a show house to appeal to the person that I knew would be buying it, I staged that house, and if Maura Mackey was here, she would tell you that what I'm saying is absolutely right. If anybody is selling a house, staging it is vital. A staged house will affect a much quicker sale and a much stronger price. And trust me, I know this because I've done it over and over. And I staged that house so successfully and so carefully, and it sold at auction, which was great. And we moved to Donegal, and we're very lucky, got a fabulous site and built the dream house. And then I decided, you know what? I think I would love to study interior design professionally. So I did with Limpert's Academy of Design in Dublin. Very tough course, very challenging, but I put effort into it, huge effort. And yes, I got a distinction, and yes, I got the qualification, but I was still a stay-at-home mum. And then one day I got a phone call one September morning in my kitchen, and it was a young guy who was a researcher for Vision Independent Productions, Mark O'Neill. And he said to me, Anne, we've been commissioned by RTE to do a show called Show House. Would you take part? And I thought, are you nuts? No, absolutely not. I'd never had a client. I'd never done anything in my life except our own houses. So the answer was no. And he was really persistent. So to get rid of him, I said, you know what? Send me all the information and I'll have a look at it. For some reason, when this came in, and it was a big missile it wasn't just a letter or a form, it was a lot of stuff. And I thought, I'm going to do this. And they took 700 designers and picked 16, and somehow Anne was in the middle of the 16, and my house was in Dromahair in Leitrim. I was pitched against, if you remember the show, it was 2 identical houses, 2 interior designers, fixed budget, and 7 days, guys, 7 days to turn a shell into a show house. It's not something I recommend for stress levels and all of that. And I was pitted against Leo O'Neill, wonderful designer, really well experienced designer from Galway. And then I discovered that the house was owned by Shane Phelan from Westlife, so the publicity was crazy. But you know what? I never ever doubted myself. I never doubted that I couldn't do it, and that is the honest truth. So that was my first client, Shane Phelan, Westlife, RTE. And yes, we did go in on a Monday morning, and yes, the cleaners came in on a Saturday evening, and I had a shell moving into it, and I had a show house by the end of Saturday evening, and I won it really strongly, and that catapulted me. So since then I have been privileged to design the most gorgeous, amazing homes and spaces and commercial spaces for lots of wonderful people. A few years ago I decided I was going to specialise in full project design, new builds, renovations mostly. And that's what I love that, love the whole challenge of it. And that's why I get so enthused with you guys who are building. I know you get a bit stressed by it, but you won't be stressed because I will keep you right and show you exactly what to do and, move you along, because I know I do this over and over. I know exactly what you need to do. But anyway, long story short, lockdown happened. Was it March 2020? And everything closed down, all my sites closed down, all my building sites, all my projects, everything was cancelled or postponed. I cried for 24 hours, and that is no lie. My husband will tell you, I cried. And I'm not a crier, really. And then I thought, flip this. And on a whim, and in the same way that it was a whim that just made me decide that I was going to do this challenge, a whim made me decide. I went on my Facebook page, and I'd barely done a Facebook Live in my life, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do a Facebook Live from now every single day until lockdown is over, and we're going to cover every design topic under the sun, and I'm going to teach you everything that I know. And I did, and we're still here. Here's our challenge. So that's where I came from. So I just want you to become your own interior designer. You're here because you have an interest. There's nobody following Rim Junkie who doesn't have an interest. That interest might have been forced on you because you are building or renovating, and maybe you never thought about interior design before, or maybe it's something you've always loved. Like with me, I always loved it. I didn't always have the confidence, and I didn't always have the knowledge, but over the years since I was a teenager, it's something that I was probably always fascinated about and loved. So I am so delighted that you're here. It's going to be a mega manic couple of days, but that's good. That's all good. And the good thing is that I will keep this page open for a while. I probably will archive it eventually, but at least you'll be able to pop in and pop out. You'll be able to look at the videos and, refresh your mind as well. And it will be good for you. Everything you learn is good for you. And some of the girls who've already done the masterclass, I know they're here, quite a few of them. And some of the guys as well, a couple of guys in too, because they want to reignite their passion and their enthusiasm and their knowledge. So there we go. That's my story. And that's why I'm here with you today. And I'm just absolutely thrilled to bits to be here. And for everybody popping in on the replay, just send me a little message and say replay, and just treat this as if you're coming in live. Have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or later on in the evening if you want to have a glass of wine, do have that. But just come in and relax, but let me know that you popped in on the replay, and you'll still have to do your homework. Okay? So, pain points. Everybody has them, and I know lots of you here, you've confided in me, and there's no shame in them, because these are challenges. I use the word pain points, but they're just challenges, and they're challenges that face everybody. And I think one of the biggest ones, particularly if it's a bigger challenge, if it is a new build, if it is an extension, if it's a bit of a renovation, or maybe you're changing your kitchen or your bathroom, or knocking through walls. I'm a great girl for knocking down walls. And these things, you've never done it before, so you are intimidated and you are scared by it. So where do you start? Now, one really important thing that you must do before you start is to know your style. And that's why I have devoted an entire session tomorrow to knowing your style. So we'll go into that. So don't worry one bit if you don't know your own style, or if you get a bit confused by your style. We will cover that tomorrow. And I will pinpoint it, and I will help you pinpoint this exercise that you will do after tomorrow's lesson, that you will do to consolidate your own style and let you know what your own style is, and let you become familiar with what your style is, so that you can actually carry it throughout your own house effortlessly. Where you start depends on what you're doing. If you're building a new home, believe it or not, I say to people, the first thing you need to do with a new build is to decide on the style and layout of your kitchen. And they look at me horrified. I do this all the time. If you're starting a new project like that, your kitchen, if you think about this, your kitchen is going to dictate the style for the rest of the house. Your kitchen is where you spend most of your time. And we're making our kitchens bigger now. We're introducing dining areas, living areas, chill out areas, playroom areas, all within our kitchen. It's become a chill zone, a family zone, and I'm a big advocate of the big open plan, open layout kitchen. It works, it absolutely works. So if you're planning a new build, will you please start with your kitchen design, your kitchen colour, your kitchen worktops, and then your flooring can come into play, and then you can start building on your jigsaw, and everything takes on a logical way of working, and you will make no mistakes whatsoever. Another thing that I will say to you is, if you're building, please start this process earlier rather than later. It is never too early to start making these decisions, because at the moment lead times are longer, materials can be slow to get, tradespeople, the good ones, are difficult to get. So the sooner you get started with any project that you do, the better result you're going to have at the end of the day. If it's a room that you're designing and you don't know where to start, let's go to the bedrooms, because some of the girls mentioned that they're doing bedrooms. Where you start in a room depends on the room. So in your bedroom, I would always start with your bedroom furniture. Decide on your bed. I've always urged you to get the biggest bed you possibly can, but decide on the style of your bed, your lockers. If you've got a dressing room, you're not going to need much furniture in your room. If you don't have a dressing room, you'll need probably built-in storage for your clothes. You'll need a dressing table, chest of drawers, lockers, maybe a chair, maybe an ottoman for the bottom of the bed. Think about your furniture first. That's where you start if you're starting with a dressing room, and then you can add in your curtains or your window treatments and get your colour scheme going. But start with your big ticket items, start with your furniture. In your living room, the same. I would actually start with, you must decide, if you're buying new sofas, these are an investment piece, and I've had so many people come crying to me because they know that they have wasted thousands. I remember having a girl at one of my classes in Harvey's Point, when classes used to happen in reality, and she cried in the middle of one of my master classes, and she had introduced herself. She told me her name, she said she was an accountant, she told me where she was from. She burst out crying, and I actually got a shock. I thought, what have I said? What is wrong? And she said, Anne, I have just realised in a heartbeat that I have wasted €5,000 on sofas that are too big for my space, that will not work in my space. So if you're planning a living room, your sofas are going to be your investment piece. So please, and again, lead times are very slow, particularly if you're having things custom made. And do think outside the box. Sometimes getting your sofas custom made actually doesn't cost any more than buying them off the shops. You might have to ask in the shops, but some of the companies will do this for you, and this means that you get the perfect sofa for your space. And even if you're not buying custom made, you'll still get the perfect sofa for your space. So remember that showrooms are vast spaces, and I think that one of the biggest mistakes that people make in buying for their home is to buy furniture that's too big. So go find what you love, make sure it's really comfortable, that it supports you wherever you need the support. Make sure the fabric supports your lifestyle. It doesn't have to be leather. You can have a microfiber fabric, or you can have a washable, water cleanable fabric like the Easy Clean fabric, so that you can have a white sofa that you can spill red wine on, or a child can get sick on, and it's still going to look amazing. So make all these choices, and then find out what size options are available to you in the sofas that you're looking at, and go home and do it the old-fashioned way and put down your newspapers and work that out to make sure that your sofas will absolutely fit the space that you're in, because nothing is worse than a sofa that's too big. I don't like a sofa that's too small either, so it must be just right. But so many people buy sofas that are far too big and bulky, take over the room in a wrong way, and they're stuck with them then because of the cost of them, and they're miserable in a room that should cause them so much joy and happiness by getting the furniture right. In your bathrooms as well, lots of people are retrofitting new bathrooms and redesigning bathrooms and putting bathrooms into existing homes. So do your planning, ask yourself the question, can I change things around? Oftentimes the plumbing is set where it is, so where your toilet is currently is probably where your toilet is going to be, because you don't want to run into the expense of changing the drains and all of that. But you can flip something, so talk to your plumber, see if you could. Maybe you want to have a beautiful freestanding bath at your window. It's quite possible that you can do that because your floor is coming up anyway. Sewer pipes are different. Again, with your sink, you might want to put a a gorgeous big wall-mounted vanity on a wall as a focal point. And you can do that, but think of this in advance. You don't have to stick to the layout that you've got. And as well as that, for you guys who have a renovation project or a new build, don't just accept the bathroom layout that you have on the plans. I want you to have the optimum layout. So do not make your toilet the focal point of your bathroom. Instead, have a beautiful vanity, maybe with lights and a beautiful mirror as your focal point, or your bath. But don't have the toilet. Think about this and consider it. Another thing too, if you're retrofitting a bathroom and you don't have underfloor heating, you can get an electrical underfloor heating put down underneath your floor. You can do the same if you're lifting a floor in a conservatory, a cold conservatory, so that you'll have a toasty warm floor. And it's just an electrical mesh of wire that goes down, and it's embedded down under the tiles. It's on a thermostat. It's actually quite cheap to run, but it will make sure that you have gorgeous toasty floors. So I suppose the pain points usually happen, I think, because not enough homework is done beforehand. You haven't done too much research, and you don't do your research in time, because lots of people dither and are indecisive and don't want to get started and are afraid to get started, and there's so much choice out there. That's another pain issue. There is actually too much choice. You go on Pinterest, you go on Instagram, you go on the house website, and you go all over the place, and your brain is fried with too much. So I think what you should do is be gut led. First of all, and we'll do this in first steps tomorrow, and if you want to take it even further, you can do the masterclass and we'll do it even more. But when you know your style, think about it like this. If you know what your style is, for me, my style is transitional. So when I look at something, my eye is drawn to those things only that is my style. So if you know what your style is, you're immediately going to cut out an awful lot of noise that you're looking at by only focusing on that you love. And let me tell you something, that whatever you put into your house from this moment forward, you must love it. This dress arrived today from Pretty Woman in Greystones, and I love it. I love the colour of it. I needed a lift today, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it on, and it gave me a buzz. So I put that dress on, I sprayed my Hermes perfume, and I felt great. That's the effect that I want. Anything that you put into your house from this moment forward, I want it to have that effect on you, that it makes you feel fantastic, it makes you feel buzzy. My clients know, they'll actually say to me, Anne, I'm getting that buzzy feeling, because they know exactly what it feels like. But if you decide, if you know your own style, then you can eliminate all the things that are not your style, so you won't even look at them. There's too much stuff out there. Be drawn. And I have another theory, and it's quite simplistic, but it works. But you need time on your side for this one. Regardless of your budget, you can have what you want. So see what you're drawn to, see what you love, put it together, and then you can start doing your homework to figure out a way of getting this look within your own budget. But too much will actually, it's a bit like going into a sweet shop and there's a million sweets and all you really want is a packet of M&Ms. Cut it down. Pare it down. And another thing, I have another little theory, lots of simplistic theories. When you're building or renovating or doing something, fix and forget is my motto, because you will have challenges. They'll come to you on a daily, weekly basis. So you fix that challenge and then you move on, but you forget that one, you park it. So say you're having trouble picking the floors for your new bathroom. The minute you find a floor that you love, forget about it. Your choice is made. Do not be tempted to go back and look at something else. This choice is made, and then you start the jigsaw. You pick your sanitary ware to work with that. You pick your colours. You pick your wall tiles, and it becomes easier. And you know something, getting started is half the battle, because once you get started and when you start putting things together, I would encourage you to do what I call a living mood board. Get actual samples of your floor tiles, your kitchen door cupboards, your worktop, all of this, and put it all together. Fabrics, the more paint colours when it comes to that, and do it in that order. The more that you can put together, the easier it is, and the more confident that you'll feel, because as you see it laid out in front of you, and it's not little tiny swatches, it's big pieces, you'll get that buzzy feeling and you'll know it's right. And here's another one that you mightn't like to hear. If your gut feeling is telling you it's okay, it's all right, it'll do, park it. Remember that Anne said you have to have that buzzy, fuzzy feeling. You have to love it. I can remember once when we were building our house, driving around town, looking at ridge tiles. I have never looked at ridge tiles in my life, but on that day they were very important. And that's a fix and forget as well. Things, you have to make decisions on things and then you move on to the next thing. Maria saying to me, I agree the toilet should never be the first thing in a bathroom, at least not from the front, maybe the side if necessary, absolutely. And toilets, if you haven't looked at toilets, what a topic for a Monday afternoon. If you haven't looked at toilets, they're so ergonomically, and cleanliness aware, they're just so, there's no rims, there's no ridges, they're easy to clean, they come apart so easily, as a mother of 3 sons, and I live with 4 guys most of the time when they're here. These things are important. Remember too, here's something I'm just thinking about off the top of my head. If you're in a smaller space, you can actually go with a shorter projection toilet. When I designed the little tiny pods up in Creasla, I had 19 square metres to put in living accommodation, sleeping accommodation, dining and kitchen accommodation, and a bathroom for 4 people in the space that most people would have a kitchen. Bigger than, but you can have a shorter projection toilet. It doesn't actually look any smaller than a regular toilet, but it just means that in a smaller space it looks better. It's all about proportion, which leads me on to the next thing. Proportion and scale in your design is so important. You have to have everything in proportion. Going back to the sofas, the right size, you must have everything in proportion. Another thing that you must have in every single room is to have a focal point. So be that in your bathroom, it could be your beautiful bath or your lovely vanity unit, not your toilet. In your bedroom, it could be your gorgeous bed with your lockers and your lamps. In your living room, it could be your fireplace with maybe 2 built-ins either side, or console tables and lamps. In your kitchen, it could be an overmantel overlooking your range or over your range. Focal point is really important. Same in your hall. Have a beautiful console table. Even in a small space, you can have a wall-mounted shelf-like console table with a big mirror to open up the space and a lamp or 2 and some flowers. But that's a focal point walking into your house, and that's really important. First impressions always count, and there's no excuse not to, but a focal point is extremely important in every room. I think people think of focal points in living rooms only, but I feel you need a focal point in absolutely every room. Another thing that I'm going to actually see if more people have been trying to get, lots of people are trying to get in, and I will admit a few people in here now if I can. No, everybody's in, that's great. Another thing that I don't encourage you to do is matchy-matchy. I actually had a client get in touch with me. I'm going to meet up with her later on in the week, who's bought a new house to her. It's actually a gorgeous house, and somebody's saying hello to me. Gorgeous house, gorgeous bones. But she said the sofas arrived the other day. Challenging space, lots of doors in the space. It took me a bit of time to figure out the size of these sofas, and they were custom made, and they were made in a gorgeous teal velvet aqua clean fabric. I haven't seen them yet, but she's sent me photographs, and she said they're stunning, and we've gone with colour. She loves colour. Colour is what she's about. She is a colour person. So her curtains, which have arrived but have not been hung yet, and her art and her cushions and all the soft furnishings, there's colour there. But she said to me, Anne, I would have been frightened if I wasn't working with you. I would have just gone for plain, boring, take it easy, don't take a chance. Whereas I know now that what I've given her, what we've worked at together, is going to give her this incredible room that will raise anybody's energy, but more importantly will raise hers, and she wouldn't have done that by herself. So sometimes it's very easy to go cookie cutter, to go into a shop and buy the matching sofa, the matching chair, the matching ottoman. Don't do that. I do like my sofas to be matching, believe it or not, mostly. I like my sofas to be neutral, believe it or not, because they don't date if you do that. If you have a fairly neutral sofa and a lighter neutral sofa, if it's in an aqua clean fabric or that type of easy clean fabric, you can still maintain it. It's still going to look amazing, but you can take in tons of colour in your cushions, in your rug. You can have an accent chair or 2 accent chairs in 2 different colours. You can bring in your fun that way and take in your personality, and that's really important. It's your home, and you want it to have your personality. You want it to support you. Like, one thing COVID and lockdowns have taught us is that our home has never been more important to us. We want our home to be gorgeous. We want our home to work, and as well as that, our home is the biggest investment you'll ever make in your life. So make it work for you, because it is just as easy. I kept saying this to my guys because most of them were building new houses at the show the other day. It's just as easy. It costs just as much money to get it wrong as it does to get it right. You're still making the investment. You're still buying what you need to get. So what I'm going to try and do is just inform you. And the biggest gift I'll give you is tomorrow in knowing your own style, because that is half the battle. Once you know your own style, it's almost like you can take a breath. It's like, oh, I know what I want now. I actually know the way I want this to look like. And then we can do things to, and remember, I have loads and loads, hundreds of videos here. Or not here, they're actually on the Room Junkie page. All through lockdown, I did pick a different topic every single day. There's not a lot that we haven't covered, and I got lots of guest experts in as well, and we discussed lots of things. So there's loads of information there if you need it. Indecision, I know, is coming back to me. All I can say to you about indecision, 2 things will cure your indecision. And maybe if somebody is really, really indecisive, and it's an issue, and it's a big issue. And I know I've often said that indecision is a killer of interior design. To be honest, for me, an indecisive client is challenging, and it will take longer, because what happens then is that trust is built up, and over time, when both of us working together, they know that I'm going to put them right. They know that I will get to know them. It's a bit like Mary with her sofas and her room and her kitchen as well, that it's full of colour now, and it's so tasteful and beautiful, but it's not what she would have gone for. But I know, and she knows now, that it's absolutely perfect for her. So sometimes with the indecision, it's very hard, and maybe you need a little bit of help, and that help might only be to just educate yourself a little bit. On Thursday, I will talk to you about the masterclass, and maybe that's what you need, because with the masterclass, it's step by step by step. There's nothing I don't cover. Everything I have learned over a lifetime of interior design is there in those 8 modules, and it will make it easy for you. Not everybody's going to need that. Loads of people here will not need that. What we cover over the next couple of days is enough just to ground you and focus your head to know the right way for you to move forward, or the right way for you to approach your design, or it will give you the gift of knowing what your style is. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to help you figure out the aspect of your house, because it doesn't matter. You could put the most gorgeous furnishings into a north-facing space. You could put the most expensive Farrow and Ball colour into a north-facing space, but because you've picked the wrong colours and the wrong textures and the wrong fabrics, it's going to look gloomy. So there is a way of doing this, and I will show you that. And it's great. It's all a game. Interior design is a game. You just need to know the rules, and then you also need to know how to break them as well, because I think good interior design is all about breaking the rules. Mary Jeffries is doing a retrofit with heating and windows and floors. No idea where to start. Mary, you have done the masterclass. I would start module 1. I know that Rosario is going to do that as well, because she is literally at the stage now in her new build where she needs to make loads of decisions, and she's been selling her previous house, so she's been under pressure there. Go back to module 1 and work through them. But stay in here as well, because this will focus you as well, and it might just get your mojo going again, Mary, and remind yourself that, you know what, I can do this. I want to do this, and I will have an amazing result. And always keep your eye on that amazing result at the end. Try and have a vision. When you have a vision, it's much easier to move towards it. For anybody who finds, sometimes if you're indecisive, the only time that I ever created a mood board for a client was when clients were indecisive. So maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe get fabric samples and pictures of your furniture and your paint swatches and your flooring samples and put them on a big board. Tomorrow I'll pull out some boards and I'll show you that. But that might be a good thing as well, and I definitely find that putting down the actual samples of everything that you're doing, big scale, get a proper big meters by metre square tile, get your full kitchen door, get a piece of the worktop, get the fabric that you're going to put in your room and blind, get a big swatch of the paint. When you put all this together, something miraculous does happen, and your confidence soars a little bit. But also something useful happens. If there's something that's jarring you in this combination of things, take it out. It's wrong. And replace it. It could be the worktop. you know, maybe it's too busy. And here's a little tip with worktops for anybody who's changing their kitchen and putting in a stone worktop, or who's building a new house. Unless you're going for a plain white worktop, will you please go to your supplier's yard and see your chosen worktop on a full slab? Because trust me, what you fell in love with in a small space might look totally different when you see the entire slab. I always insist that people do that. Very, very worthwhile and useful thing to do. Now, if anybody's got questions, do pop them in here. I mightn't be able to answer them now, but I will certainly try and get back to you later on. Colour confusion is another thing. Actually, as I'm here, I'm going to quickly skip down to see if there's anything. Somebody said who couldn't get to the rebuild show. She has Mike in her home and wondering, will they run one again soon? They usually hold that mic, oh God, that word mic fills my heart with sadness. I spoke to two people, I don't know who that is, telling me that she's got mic in her house, but I did speak to two lovely ladies, and you know what I said to them was, you are going to be rebuilding, and your first house probably was your dream house, and this is a heartbreak of that situation. So what you can do is do your homework now, do the 3 days, and find out what your style is. That's the most important thing that you can do. And then have a vision of your new rebuilt house, because your needs might have changed. Your style has most definitely probably changed in 10 or 20 years. So think of the positives. It's a dreadful situation that your house needs to be demolished, but you are building your dream home again, and you will get the finish that you want. You will get the look that you want. And, you know, with the right homework and the right perseverance and all of that, you might even get a much, much better, more appropriate house. You know what they say? It says you have to build 3 houses to get it right. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I think do it once and do it right, or do it twice and do it right. But if I can help you in any way, I don't know who that is. You're obviously in one of my groups, but because it's just come up as Facebook user. I hate when Facebook does that and doesn't put your name in. But even send me a message, and if I can help you in any way, I most definitely will. Now, new comments are coming in. Sorry, there's comments down below here. Let me see what they are. Do you know what I'll do? I'll just pull it up here, because I picked a colour trend paint for kitchen. Would you use interior matte, washable matte, or soft sheen for the kitchen? That's a really good question. Okay. I would not use soft sheen. I can't stand soft sheen paint, and lots of painters hate me for that because it's so easy to use. I would always use a washable matte, always. Colour Trend or Fleetwood, superb quality. 3 sons, 20 years. There were rooms in that house that were never repainted after 20 years because they were painted in a Colour Trend matte paint, washable matte paint. Love a matte paint. Okay. So colours are difficult, and choosing colours can be problematic for so many people. So again, what I would say to you is, do not pick your paint colour first. That's a recipe for disaster. Pick something else. Pick your fabric, pick a cushion, pick your floor, pick your sofa, and then pick your paint colour. Because if you do that, I've done modules on that here already, and there's videos on it, and I've even done a video on 50 Shades of Grey, because the colour grey is particularly hard to get right, and again your aspect comes into it. So we'll be talking about this on Wednesday. Maria's saying try Colour Trend ceramic matte finish for your kitchen. Ceramic matte is absolutely stunning. It's you couldn't kill ceramic matte. Absolutely gorgeous. I love Colour Trend paints, and their paints, you know, their washable paints are washable. The ceramic paint is really, really strong. The Fleetwood washable ones are very, very powerful as well, and you can wash them. You absolutely can wash them. And they're both Irish companies. I love them both. Absolutely love them both. Okay. So I've thrown a lot at you. Don't worry too much. That's my wisdom now at the end of this. Don't worry too much about your pain points. That's easy for me to say, isn't it? But when you do your homework tonight, a decision made, that's great. And you know what? That's what I want you to do. Start being decisive. Make your decisions. Be gut-led. Know that, sorry, I got distracted by something there. When you make your decision, if you do your homework, if you do your research, and your gut tells you it's right, trust me, it is right, and just move on to the next one, because there's so many decisions to be made, and you will become, the more you make decisions and realize they're right, you think, I've got this, and you'll get used to being decisive, and you will use to see your design coming together, and there's such joy and satisfaction in that. So tonight's homework, as soon as I'm finished, I'm going to pop this up in a document, which I haven't written yet, but I will very shortly, into your guides. What I want you to do is to think long and hard. First of all, I want you to write down what your next project is. Is it your new build? Or maybe you're in the middle of it. Is it a renovation? Is it a kitchen extension? Is it a new bathroom? Is it your bedroom? Is it your hall? A study? What is it? Write that down to focus yourself on the task in hand. And then I want you to write down only five things that caused you the most difficulty in order of importance. So say you're indecisive. Figure out how you can help your indecision. How can you become more confident? How can you learn more? How can you develop your eye? How can you know what your style is? Well, you'll get that tomorrow. And all of this will help you. When you write it down, sometimes if you write it down, take it out of your head and get it down on paper, it's easier to focus on it. And then I want you to figure out what you're going to do to help that problem. So maybe too much choice is an issue. So think to yourself, this is what I like, this is what I need for this space, and this is what I'm going to look at. We're all guilty, and Instagram is a disaster for this shiny object syndrome, and I'm as guilty of it as anybody else. It's why we spend hours scrolling on our phone, wasting time, that you'd be far better off researching your home. So get rid of the shiny object syndrome, only focus on what you need, the things that you need, and then start finding the things that you love to suit the things that you need, if that makes sense. If colour is your problem, think about how you can start with something to create your colour scheme. And if you have, here's a good tip for you, if you have a big problem with colour, pick your fabric first. Pick your rowan blind, even if you've got a blank canvas to start with. And I'll tell you why. Pick your fabric, say it's your bedroom, pick your curtain fabric. And out of that then, you've got your colour scheme. You can take your wall colour from the lighter background colour of that fabric. You can take your accent colours. And I talked before about the 60-30, 10% rule. So you will probably find that in your curtain fabric. So take that out for your accent colours, maybe for a chair, for cushions, for a rug, to bring for art. And that helps as well. Somebody's been paid a lot of money to create the colour scheme for your fabric. So find your fabric, fall in love with it, and then use that fabric to guide you towards creating a colour scheme. So anybody doing their bedroom, really good place to start. And if you have the confidence to do one room beautifully, and do a room and finish it, that's another piece of advice. Don't try and do a little bit here and a little bit there. Project by project, room by room, till you get to the finish. So if you're doing your bedroom, don't move out of that bedroom until you've got it finished. Right down to the last picture on the wall, and the cushions and everything, your flowers, whatever you've got, your candles, everything must be 100% finished. Then you move on to the next space. So I hope that makes sense. And that's actually a very, very good little piece of information. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope you've learned something. I'm excited. I hope you're getting excited. Tomorrow, I want you to make the time to watch tomorrow, because it is going to focus you, and you might be surprised. I have so many people who honestly didn't know their style, particularly the girls who did the masterclass, and they came out of it saying, quite a few of them actually decided that transitional design, which is what I love, even though some of my best work is uber contemporary, but it doesn't matter what your style is, you just need to know it. But some of the girls have said that they didn't know the style called transitional existed, but now they know that that's their style, and that makes it so much easier. And so many of them who've actually got their houses are built at this point, and all of these decisions have been made, have ended up with an amazing result just because they found out what their style was, and they were able to transmute that style and translate it throughout your entire house. Because cohesion is good too, flow is good, you need all of that. There's no point in having one room in your house that is your style if everything else is a mishmash of stuff that doesn't work. And I don't mean that you throw out everything that you have. You can force things to work within your style, but the important thing is that you know what your style is. So that's tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we will be doing the aspect of your house, which again, particularly if you're picking paints and colours and fabrics is really, and flooring even, is really, really important. And then we'll consolidate everything on Thursday with a big juicy masterclass. So I will post your homework very shortly. Thank you so much. And it's amazing, there's 140 something people here, which that's just wonderful. And I'm so, look, your time is so precious, and I am thankful that you've come in, and I'm thankful that I had this notion to do this because I know it will help you. Of course it will. Somebody is saying, I love transitional style, didn't know what it was called until just now. See? Or you might think that you like classical style, but you're drawn to more contemporary style. So anyway, there's a way of doing it. We'll do that tomorrow. So until then, stay safe, stay fabulous. If you haven't, earlier I posted, I realised that some people are in the Facebook group, but you're actually not on the VIP mailing list. So if you're not on that mailing list, will you please pop your email in so that you will stay up to speed with everything that I'm sending out, because there will be things coming out every single day to you, and I don't want you to miss out, and that's the only way that I can get it to everybody, because it would clog up this page completely if I put everything in. So I did put a post earlier today. It's so funny. I tried to tag everybody, and Facebook told me that I could only tag 100 people, so I had to put 2 posts up to get everybody tagged. So yeah, so listen, I am excited. Gosh, I'm buzzing now. I'll get loads of work done now because you've all put me in a very heightened state of happiness. So listen, I'll see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock. For some of you, I'll see you later on when you're tuning in on the replay. Just give me a hashtag and let me know. Marie Riley is saying, or maybe it's Mary, thank you, Anne, very enjoyable, informative. It's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. We're only getting started. So until tomorrow at 3 o'clock, do your homework. It's simple. And and don't overthink it. Just do it. Get it down on paper. Marie is saying, thank you, Anne. That's designer Marie. Looking forward to tomorrow. Get it down on paper. Get it out of your head. And I'm a list person because I'm not always terribly organised. I can be organised, but if I have a list, look at, I have lists for everything. So if you have a list, so even a list of your pain points, the issues, the challenges that you're facing currently, write them down. And guess what? When you start ticking that list off because you've sorted that challenge, you're going to feel pretty amazing. And you know what they say, face your fear and the fear goes away. I truly do believe that. So if there's a fear stopping you from moving forward with this design, face it now, take a deep breath, address that fear and do what you can to either find the information or the confidence or the tools or the person to help you. It could be a tradesperson, it could be the right painter, whatever, the right builder. Find that person, but do whatever it takes to sort out your pain points. And I'll put a little guide in now in the guide section to help you address your pain points and cure them. Stay safe, stay fabulous. I shall see you all at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and I can't wait.